and Jen's on mine too. All right. Let's give it a minute in case Sam is just checking email again and logging on, and in case anybody else joins.
Yeah, I think there is one more member that's coming on Zoom.
Okay. It's very cold outside. And,
yeah.
You know, maybe we all need an extra minute. Going through the play today.
All right. Excellent.
I haven't read anything about it on purpose.
Yeah. That's my favorite way to go to a show. No idea what I'm up out in for.
Yeah. All right. Sam can catch up. I can perfect. We'll start the meeting. Good morning, everybody. We will do introductions because we've got some new members. Yeah, let's start with that. And I'd love to know your name, how long you've been in Bangor, and what made you interested in the Cultural Commission, or something else about what you do work-wise or life-wise. My name is Nina. I'm the chair. I have been back in Bangor for about 5 years now, but I went to high school nearby, and I work as a project manager for a design agency. So I've always been in creative stuff, and I am excited about Bangor doing more cultural things and being able to support events and people showing up to things. We'll go around to this way.
Sarah Green-Himmen. I own an HR consulting company, Tallwood HR. I have been in Bangor for most of my life. I grew up, for the most part, here. For the Cultural Committee, my son's very active in theater and in the arts. And so it's really important for me to help to continue to grow that in this area for him as he's younger. And then hopefully for him and other kids as they grow up in the area, giving them options.
Yeah, so Sundance Campbell, I've been back in Bangor for what to me doesn't feel like all that long, but it's really been like 17 years. I work at Morgan Stanley, which is an investment firm where I have my own practice, but also run the office locally. I do some work with the Penobscot Theater on their board too. What drew me to the commission is I'm very interested in how the arts come together as a whole in a city and in a region. And always interested in looking for opportunities where art organizations can help each other and kind of help, kind of come together to be kind of a cohesive unit for the region. And so that's why I joined the commission.
Great. Cal Elmore. I've been in Bangor about 50 years. What brought me to the commission, I taught art in high school and was very involved in advocating for the arts in small ways, but it's sort of been my thing. And I really like the idea of bringing the groups together and seeing more partnering. And continuing the progress we've made with murals and theater. Just there's interesting things happening.
Great. Thank you.
I'm Ann Krieg. I'm the Director of Community and Economic Development for the city. I love the Commission's work because I really believe that arts and culture are a big part of our economy and reason why people want to live and work here.
Great.
Go ahead. And then we'll do.
Yep.
My name is Maria Doncheva. I'm originally from Bulgaria. I've been in Bangor for 5 years. I'm a real estate agent and an accountant by trade. and I would love to serve the people of Bangor. So there was an opening and I applied for the commission.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Kelly and then Jen.
Hi, my name's Kelly Chanel. Gosh, I've been back in Bangor almost 10 years. I was born here and spent all my summers here and between here and upstate New York, but I've been back living here with my son for, it's going on 10 years now. What drew me to commission, I actually applied for a different position at the city. I really wanted to volunteer and give back. I love this city. And this actually was like given to me, I think, as a gift, but they didn't have an opening on the other committee I applied for. And I landed on this committee, and being a musician and going to school for music and dabbling a little in art, it's been just really awesome to do something positive for the city. So.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Snow. I have lived in Bangor since 2014. I currently work in human resources at Sargent in Orono, and I joined the commission. I've always been a theater girl, and I think that the organizations in an area are better if they can work together. And I kind of see the Cultural Commission as a kind of grounding force in that, the ability to put people in touch with one another and provide support to work together. So that's part of why I wanted to join the committee.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Force.
Oh, Sam is in the meeting, but we can't see her. All right. Hi, Sam. Can you hear us and see us?
Oh, come on. I can hear you and see you. There we go.
Yay!
Hi.
Perfect timing.
Hello. So I think we're doing introductions.
Yes.
But I've been like going in and out of this meeting trying to like figure it out. So sorry. But I'm Sam Scapani. I've been on the Cultural Commission for like a year. And I just had a new baby. So this is my first meeting back in a while. And what else are we saying?
What made you interested in the Cultural Commission, or kind of what you do professionally that you bring to the commission?
Oh, okay. I used to be a journalist for the Bangor Daily News, and now I do communications for the state. But I am a writer and a musician, so I love the arts, and I have like long been involved in sort of like arts impact, and I wanted to do the same for Bangor.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. We are missing 3 members, but I think that's all right. I know this time is tough. So I think one thing we may need to chat about over email is whether this time still works for people, given that we have 3 pretty much brand new members this year. We can always reschedule to a different time if there's something that works better for everybody or the majority. We've got 8 people here of 11, so maybe this does still work. But if anybody has opinions, let's chat about it. But I do want to make sure I include the people who are not here, since clearly this time doesn't work. All right. Meeting minutes we will postpone. We don't need to vote on that, right? Or do we?
Yeah, no, I apologize that they're not in the packet. We, when we recorded the meeting last month, the sound wasn't on.
Oh.
So we're assembling your minutes with our notes. So if you
Okay.
took good notes, I'll take your notes to add to mine. Because I did take notes, because we had a lot of discussion
Right.
that I needed, so I do have decent
Look at
notes.
your notes.
Yeah,
Is it memory?
okay.
Yeah.
We can plug in AI to take notes for this.
I don't know. That's a city
What's that?
thing. Is
We
there
can plug in
note-
AI
Oh, yeah.
for this, and then
Yeah, to
all
do
of us
AI.
who have the notes.
Yeah, we are looking at a step level using AI more for minutes taking and things like that, yeah. And then going back in for accuracy. But
That would be really
yeah.
easy.
All right. My report. I don't have much to report. January was a bit of a vortex and I don't know, weird month. But what I would like to do is we need to re-elect or elect a chair, and we need a vice chair of the whole commission. And then we also need to either re-elect or elect committee chairs. And we can talk through, I know last month we talked kind of extensively about what the different committees do, but with new members, we'll talk about that a few more times. But we've got a grants committee, we've got a cultural asset committee, and we have an Arttober committee. Grants is a twice yearly currently grant cycle where local organizations can apply for a grant and they can get up to $5,000 in a grant. And our commission decides who gets how much. And we always have really great applications. It's a really fun process, I think. It's really interesting to see what the different organizations want to do with that money and want to put on and kind of organize for things that are happening around town. The Cultural Asset Committee is a bit lower effort often. However, they might have a big project this year. They are in charge technically of keeping track of all the cultural assets we have in town. So that's public art. It's various pieces that exist in public that the city is in charge of maintaining. We are in charge of keeping track of what needs to be maintained. It's a system that has been not highly prioritized in the last few years, both on our side, I think, and on the city side because of lack of assets, lack of funding, lack of time. It's a difficult project. We do have a report, a spreadsheet somewhere of what exists currently, but it needs to be updated and it hasn't happened in a while. Last year, we asked the city for funding to hire a student to do the actual tracking in town, to check the things. Someone who's maybe interested in history or art or culture or archiving or, something where it would be useful as a project. We don't want to hire students for free. So we're trying to get money to pay them. But if we didn't get money last year, so if we don't get money this year, we as a commission might need to do that. And we might just need to split up the town and everybody has to take a certain area and track what exists there and update the spreadsheet accordingly. So that will be ongoing this year. So we need a chair for that. And then Arttober is our big October art celebration. So Arttober in Bangor is Art Month. We usually put on an event at the beginning of it where we give out the Arts Award. So we give $1,000 to an artist or art supporter in town. We've done that for the past 4 years, right? This would be the 5th year?
I think this is the 5th year.
Yeah. And we engage local jurors to help select. We have a big open nomination. This happens starting in the summer. So it's kind of a big project for that committee from maybe early July through the beginning of October. And then we just try to get people to join things that are happening in October. There's always a Sidewalk Arts Festival, and there's a lot of other things. And the city puts up banners that have our Arttober branding through the month of October. So lots of fun things happening there. Why don't we start with the chairs? So I've been chair for 2 years. I'm happy to stay chair, but also happy to hand a baton to someone else. I don't need to be chair. So I want to open it up. It often feels a bit weird for me to lead a discussion around re-electing me or not. But if anybody has questions, if anybody's interested in the position, speak up. This is a friendly and welcoming environment, and I want to hear opinions. And
Or take nomination.
Right,
Anybody wants
absolutely.
to do a
I'd
nomination.
like to nominate Dina for chair. I think she's done a wonderful job.
I second that.
I'll throw that.
I'll say all in favor.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Congrats.
And thank you. Yay. Funny because I've only been on the commission, I think now 3 years, right? But now we've had so much turnover. Kyle has been here longer than I have.
And
But
we started at the same time.
we started at the same time, then yeah, we're the ones who've been here the longest.
Yeah.
But that's also kind of the point, to keep having new people be engaged in city stuff. Okay, our vice chair, Holly, termed out, so she's no longer here. We need a new vice chair. Responsibilities for a vice chair is, if I ever can't make a meeting, you would run the meeting, but you get an agenda from Sarah and it's lovely and it's not that much work. And show up to things, participate, be involved. Is anybody interested in becoming vice chair? Or would anybody like to nominate somebody?
I nominate Kelly.
Oh, my word.
I second. Kelly, would you accept the nomination?
Yes, I would.
Cool.
Nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Congratulations, Vice Chair Kelly.
Thank
All right.
you.
Now, for the committees, people who were chair last year are welcome to remain chair. So Sundance chair to the October committee. Did Holly chair the grants committee?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Okay. So we need a new grants committee chair. We need a new cultural asset committee chair. And would you like to remain chair of the October committee, or would you like to pass that along to somebody?
I'd be happy to do it. I'd like to do it, but it's the will of the committee, right? I mean, if people want to go in a different direction, that's fine too.
Nominate him.
Do we do official nominations and seconds and votes for? I think we just.
For subcommittees, I don't think you need
Yeah.
to, yeah.
I'll second it anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make it.
Support.
All right, great.
One less thing that needs to change.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And right, with all these committees, the chair will do the organizing and the pulling the meetings together and kind of keeping track of things. The chair does not do all the work.
Yeah,
The
of
work
course.
is still done by committee members. Every commission member has to be a member of at least one committee. So everybody will be involved and participate to the degree that they are able. But there is an expectation that you show up to things or participate. Is anybody, actually, let me rephrase. Can I nominate somebody for the grants committee?
And just ask them if they
Yeah.
wanna be.
Jen, any chance you're interested in chairing the grants committee?
Sure. I'd be happy to.
Great. All right. I don't think we need to vote unless anybody wants to show support. I think Jen.
Congrats.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Cool.
fair enough.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
All right, so cultural asset committee. Again, this is the more complicated one potentially this year, but we're hoping to get some money to hire somebody to do this work.
We can't just take money we have and do it.
Well, one thing, I don't know if you wanna jump to it, but I was gonna talk today about your budget for next year
Yeah.
and the downtown tip
Yeah,
of trying to request funds for, I have a list of
Mhm.
options that you could use those funds for, but to ask for a certain amount, and then, maybe it's the cultural asset and a strategy.
Mhm.
Cause that would be good to have sort of a strategy document
Yeah.
going forward, as well as sort of like, this is what we have, these are the kinds of things we wanna see happen, over the next 10 years.
Mhm.
Or increasing your grant amounts. If there's, or trying to park funds for a specific public art project that you wanna do, calendar project. More funds for Artober, in past Artobers, you've done, a poster contest, I heard years back, and, things like that,
Yeah,
like, to really bring even more layers to that if you wanted. And also the art installation at Pickering.
Yeah.
If you wanted to give a stipend for that, for example.
And
for
right,
somebody.
part of the plan is to ask for more money in more specific ways this year, so that, and with more support and more documentation to hopefully get some of that. And I think this TIF bucket might just be
Yeah,
a valid solution for us to be more likely to get a yes. We are also pursuing still and are always on the lookout for any other grants that we could apply for. But it's less likely to get grant money for something like the cultural asset report. It's much more likely to get grant funding for public art or the history panels for Pickering Square. So yes, hopefully we'll have money. The reason we don't want to take money from the budget that we currently have is that we have so little and it takes money away from grant money.
It just seems like it's a project that's been waiting for a long time, and I think the benefit of it is to get a full accounting of all the different things that are under the purview of the city. And I mean, that's a great selling point.
yeah, and that would be my recommendation as your first year of using TIP funds is to do the cultural asset and strategy with a consultant. Yeah, that's working, at your meetings with you.
Right, and if there's potential that we could get a little bit more than a stipend, then we could hire someone who's a professional at doing this type of work.
Right, yeah, a consultant.
Exactly, yeah.
A side note is, it's come up before, and I don't know where it needs to be addressed, but the murals that used to be in the front here don't seem to be anywhere. I haven't gone looking, but it used to be.
Oh, the ones in the lobby.
Yeah, in the lobby. I just don't want them lost and forgotten about.
I know that when we were in the planning stages for this project to redo the floor, that there was a lot of research done on the significance of those. And there wasn't a lot of information. But I can find out what information was gathered.
I just know once things like that are put in storage, they think it's going to stay forever in storage. And it was a pretty nice mural. And even if it's not
White walls where art can hang.
well, there should be wall space here or some other public space.
I mean, if the city has art in storage, maybe cultural asset committee could take a look.
Yeah.
Storage sometime and see what exists there also and make recommendations for maybe where it could go.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What assets do we have?
Really, it's not assets in the kind of financial sense of the word asset. It's public art that exists in town. So murals are counted as part of cultural assets for our town, or sculptures or other public art. Is there any other examples?
Down by the river, there's a couple of sculptures, but yeah, sculptures and murals. And because we don't have an updated
I
list.
think technically like historic markers or plaques or historic squares with information are also considered part of it.
Yeah, they are.
So we need to take like asset inventory.
Yeah.
But should we take like pictures as well together with a spreadsheet so we can refer back to things?
Yes.
Right, that's what we want to do.
That's the idea.
Yeah, and we'd like to, because we want to make sure it's organized, we'd like to hire somebody to do it because we all do this as volunteer, but we also have jobs and lives and families. And it's a big project. The spreadsheet exists, but there's also stuff that isn't recorded on the spreadsheet because the last time it was done was maybe 6-ish years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So it's part of like walking around town and seeing what has been added.
And noting the condition of things.
Yeah, and so it's a project that either way won't start until later in the spring. It's not a winter project. But yeah, the goal is to walk around and add anything that has been added, anything new. I don't know if the current spreadsheet and report has pictures. I think it should. Because part of it is also tracking condition. So if like there's graffiti on a mural, we would track it and then report it to the city to try to get them to fix it if the city owns the mural.
Mhm.
Or like if a sculpture is damaged, this would be tracked in that.
A question about that, since you bring it up, like, are these murals, I assume, were privately owned?
Some of them, there's some that are kind of gray area, but some of
Yeah,
them are
some
not
are.
city property.
Mhm.
So like the B mural
Right.
is not something that the city paid for. I think the cultural commission did give
Yeah, it
some
gave some grant
money,
funds.
grant money to it, but it was Bangor Beautiful who organized it and did the fundraising.
Mhm.
And I don't know what their agreement was with who owns the building, but it's not city property. But the one,
The school, for sure.
the schools are different, right, because that's more city property. It still is not always a mural that the city paid for itself, but, or like the bathroom, so that would be
Street one.
city property. The,
Wastewater.
yeah,
building.
yeah, and the one by the post office, right?
Mhm.
I think
Yeah, the
that's-
river one.
Yeah, so like some of them are a bit gray area. The vernal pool one is a private property.
Yeah.
But doesn't also mean that we can't, as a cultural commission, track those for purposes of helping people know what exists in town. So it is kind of a dual purpose of city maintenance and making sure the city knows the condition of the things that they own, but also helping people know where the murals are and helping tourists see what exists in town and like advertising that in a way. That right, we can't really talk about all the murals unless we know where all the murals are. All right. On that note,
We need a chair, right?
we need a chair for cultural assets. Anybody? All right.
I'll do it if nobody else will. No, I am
Thanks, Cal.
interested in it, it's just, I'm worried it's a dig.
Right, it's a daunting project. I could be on the committee with you. Also happy to have other people be on the committee. Ultimately, if we have to do the report, it's gonna be a full commission project. I think everybody will receive some parcel of land that they need to walk through. And, you know, if you have an hour at some point this summer, that'll be enough to participate. But it won't be just you doing this by yourself, Cal.
Darn right.
Yeah. But right, the hope is still that we can find some funding. And I feel pretty hopeful about this too. All right, cool. That concludes our election and my report. Financial report. Any questions in the packet? This is something we do every month. We take a look at it. We always know where our finances are. We don't have a ton of money. Most of this money is for grants. We usually, the past several years, have started the year with 20,000 earmarked for grants and 2,500 for October. Whatever we don't spend of the 2,500 for October goes back into the grant bucket. Because we have 2 grant cycles, we try really hard to keep it close to even with what we give in the fall so that we have enough left in the spring. I have yet to see a year where we are able to give all the grants that are requested. We don't have enough money for what we're seeing coming in through the grant requests. So that's also an ongoing project, is asking for more money. But right now we have 9,781 left for the spring grant cycle. We have no other expenses, so that money is all going to grant. But Sarah did note here that we're still waiting for some additional invoices, so that amount might change. Do you happen to know what's outstanding from fall grants?
I don't think anything.
Okay, maybe that's what we're not.
Do we know It was never clear to me whether the stage door billed for the use of the space for October or not. I've gotten mixed answers on that.
All right,
It's around $1,000, if I remember right.
maybe that's what she's.
It should be.
Oh, yeah. She
I
usually.
think I saw it.
Is that an answer or was that?
Kelly says she thinks she saw it. I saw Bangor
Okay.
Beautiful, $1,000. That was the arts and rules.
Right.
Kelly was for
The flowers.
flowers, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't see anything else in here for October. So it's possible that that's another $1,000. It's gonna come out.
Yeah, we had some turnover in the,
But that's from we have 1,448 of the October bucket.
Right. That's what I was seeing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we included there.
Exactly. So if Penobscot Theater hasn't billed us yet, then Sarah will follow up. That still means we'd have 448 left over that will go back into the grants bucket, which puts us right around 1,000. How well that worked out, Sarah. All right. Any other questions on finance?
I have some clarifying questions.
Yes.
So where is that 20,000 coming from? It's
The
coming
city.
From the city,
Yeah.
and that's like every year?
Yeah.
So every year they give us $20,000. Where else can we apply for grants? The state, federal, state, public?
Yeah.
So we can ask the
All of the
public
above.
for money? Is that a
Um,
thing?
I don't know that we can ask the
Can
public just
solicit,
for like
can't solicit.
donations,
Yeah.
but we can apply for grants.
But we can.
Yes, we do have to, if we see a grant that we think we're eligible for, we have to go through the city grant system. So we have to ask permission and ask
Right,
permission for us
yeah.
to, from the economic committee, with city council for us to apply, and then we apply and we get help from the grant administrator at the
Mhm.
city to do that. So usually we'll put together some materials, but they submit it. So it takes a bit longer than it would if just a person was applying for a grant, but we can apply for grants. We are considered a nonprofit through the city, so we're part of the city. So anything where like a municipality is eligible, we would be eligible.
And have we ever received any other grants? Have we ever?
No.
No?
We applied for 2 last fall. This is a new thing. We did not get either of them, but one of them was an NEA grant, and that was very unlikely anyway. That
Yeah.
big federal. The other one was a statewide grant, and I don't know why we didn't get it, but we didn't.
Yeah.
And who writes those grants? Do we write them?
City staff
Mhm.
writes them, but we put together the materials, because city staff doesn't sit, it's not Anne, it's someone who's not in our meetings, and so we have to send them all the information.
Okay.
And then they put it together.
And besides that, what do we do with the $20,000? Like, what is the cycle?
We give grants. So on here, this is what we give for fall grants. These are the organizations that applied and the amounts that we gave them. And the fall ones applications are due October 1st, and then we deliberate November 1st to then pay out after that. Spring grants, the applications are due April 1st, right? Yeah, so they're live in March. They're due, they're due April 1st, and then in May, we discuss. And so usually the grants committee, between when the applications are due and the next commission meeting, they'll meet, they'll vet, they'll make sure all the information is there. We can send any questions we have back to the organizations. And then usually they send a representative to that next meeting. So the May meeting, we may have people joining us from the different organizations. We can ask them questions. And then usually they leave the room and we can discuss and decide how to split up the money. The goal generally is to give away all the money. We don't want to end the year with anything left in the account. And we always have asks for more than what we can give. So usually it's not a problem to give away all the money.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yeah. And any organization that applied in the fall isn't eligible in the spring. So it's usually a different set of local. Individual artists are also eligible to apply. So we've given grants to painters who had a show at the Zillman. We give grants for murals occasionally. Yeah, Bangor Beautiful wasn't on the list in the fall, so they're very likely to apply for something in spring because they have projects in town all the time.
So this money doesn't go towards people or organizations adding to the city cultural assets. It's just money.
No, it's grant money for, and we can send you the application. I think it's live on our website. It's generally for art. It can be for art installations. So like, it can be for a mural that would then be considered an asset for the city. But it can be for an event. It can be for something that's free to the public. It can be for something that's paid tickets. So I think if we look through the list for the fall, the Bangor Authors Company, is that what they? Yeah, they started as an individual. So for the past 3 years, an individual applied by himself, and he was organizing this Bangor Authors Festival. And then he made that into a nonprofit. And so then he applied as the organization last fall. That's a festival that happens in December at the library here. The Robinson Ballet Company usually applies for a specific performance, and I think it might have been the soup one, stole soup. Some theater company applied for some funding for lighting equipment. Penobscot Theater, I don't remember which show. They usually apply for a specific show, and then it's funding support for the performance in some way. But organizations can apply for, generally we don't pay for salaries. We don't pay for like something that, and we don't prioritize things where the organization can make more money off of it. It's usually to make things more accessible or reach a broader audience or kind of
Some sort of value to the public.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah, I know, it's a lot of information
Like,
and
you gotta always track the money.
it's a bit of a complicated system, but we're hopeful always that we eventually will get more money because there's lots of great things happening.
When does the city vote the budget of the community?
Yeah,
Coming up?
it's
Oh.
in the late spring. So usually sometime in May, I have to go, and whoever wants to join me, please feel free. I'm gonna be, every year I become better prepared, but this year I want just so many examples and facts and statistics. But I go to a city council budget meeting workshop. And so I present what we're asking for, and they ask me questions and I answer the questions. And then they go back and deliberate for the next month and a half. And then the budget is decided at the end of June for the fiscal year that starts July 1st.
I can be of help for fiscal things
Love that.
if you need me.
Perfect. Also need people who can speak to a big group of people without getting flustered. Yes.
Like internally, we have to get our budgets in at the end of February.
So we
We're working on our now.
we
Yeah, and that'll be-
end up putting in a request, a like written request in February. But then we have to defend it.
Without making it too long a meeting, it's been 20,000 for a fair amount of time. How far back does that go? Roughly, or at least how?
5 years.
I think more than that. I don't know that it
Yeah.
increased.
Okay, but we've been solid 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can increase it for inflation.
That was part of my argument last year, and that did not get us far enough.
It's tough. I'm sure that inflation's running faster than revenues, you know.
Do we have any people applying for things that can, like sculptures, for example, that we can add to the city?
Yeah.
Do we have anything that?
Waterfront.
Yeah. The waterfront
Didn't-
canoe was not.
So we didn't give money to that.
No, it was a percent for art
That's
building
right.
construction.
that's right.
project, but we were part of the selection process for that.
Mhm.
Did downtown Bangor, get money for that fish that was in front of the library that maybe is still in town? It's a sculpture. So yes, I mean,
Something tangible,
Yes.
just so we can, when we go and present these projects, we can show actually progress, because otherwise they're busy, they won't see it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's,
So looking back at because I'm looking at the website now that has all of the previous grants from 2024 and back listed. It doesn't look like there's been a lot of visual arts that are permanent. So a lot of what visual artists are applying for is like pop-up art exhibits and things that are going temporarily into a space. So that does make it hard to have something visual that you can show to the city council and say, this is the type of thing that we're funding. But that is a good point. Unfortunately, it's about getting the word out when the grant cycle is open to those people that would be putting up those permanent types of installations. So if there are great ways of thinking about how to get that information out, that would be amazing.
Great, does the city have a marketing team,
yes.
and do we have access to that committee?
Well, it's staff.
Can we use city assets like other teams and other committees to work together?
On specific projects, yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
just let us know what you wanna do and.
Yeah. In the past, the city has posted when the grant cycle is open on their social media. I think
Yeah.
it goes in a newsletter and
Oh,
it
great.
goes on the website.
Okay.
Mhm.
We also all post about it and share it with our networks as much as possible. We also have now, this is what we built in the past couple of years, a kind of our own contact list of people who have participated in something that we've done. So Arts Award nominees and kind of a bigger group of local art teachers and local artists. And so we usually try to send something around that time also. That usually comes from a personal email because none of us have a city email.
Okay.
But we can do outreach like that.
Perfect.
We don't have kind of a separate marketing print ads budget.
Mhm.
And I don't know that the city, that's a question. If we want.
Yeah, I mean, that's
an ad
another
budget.
thing to ask for specific, funds for. I can add that to the list, more marketing materials.
It's always it's a big tough question. It's where do we find more artists to apply for grants and to participate in things
And specific artists who would like their work to be showcased.
Yeah.
And
And then-
appreciated by the public, so.
Yeah, I think part of the complicating factor there too is that the city then, like, they have to, if it's a sculpture, they have to have a place for the sculpture. So the city wouldn't necessarily just provide space.
Mhm.
I think we could work with the city
Mhm.
and that could be something where we could be the go-between. But we would just give the grant and the artist is responsible for the building, the doing, the installing.
And I think that would be a great conversation to have if you end up doing a cultural strategy, is to talk about those types of things, like, what public spaces should we be looking at for, public art installations, things like that. Those are the kinds of conversations you have.
Right, if we're gonna
Agree.
do a full report overhaul of where all the art is, we should
Yeah.
include where there are
Where
city
there
owned
aren't.
spaces that don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe we can,
Yeah.
based on condition, we can swap things.
Mhm.
Sounds like a fun year ahead of us.
Yeah. All right, where were we? I think committee reports were good. Yeah.
We'll meet in March to get going for the year.
Yeah. And then Jen, you and I can chat about grants and when the grant committee needs to meet, if you have any questions, but sometime in March, the grant committee will, actually sometime in April, the grants committee will meet to vet the. Okay. All right, annual training, do we still have time?
Our city solicitors need to
Right.
do an annual training.
I'm gonna be late.
Hi, I'm David Sevchek, the city solicitor, and I'm going to be talking to you about the Freedom of Access Act today, which is a state statute that actually has two purposes. One is actions of public bodies need to be taken openly, so that act tries to assure that that's what happens. And also it has to do with the records of public bodies, that they must be available to the public for inspection. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about each one of those prongs of the Freedom of Access Act. I'll talk about the public records part first. So any record that is in possession of the city or any of its public officials, that would be you, that involves the business of the city, in your case, the business of the commission, are considered public unless a statutory exception applies, which makes them non-public. There are a lot of statutory exceptions, so we're not going to go over those today. But it's safe to assume that if you have any documents or communications created or received by a commission member involving the business of the commission, then you should assume it's a public record. Written communications would include texts, emails, social media posts, and communications in electronic messaging systems, or any other electronic communication regarding the business of the commission. Communications regarding the business of the commission should be considered public record, even if they are on your personal device. It is recommended that you create a new email address for your position on the commission and use that for any and all commission communications. We suggest that you don't delete any communications, documents, or notes taken during commission meetings, because they may be the subject of a Freedom of Access Act request from the public. The public can request those things, and they do. I don't know how many they would request from your commission, but the public makes Freedom of Access Act requests that we deal with every day here at the city. So the city might request to view your electronic communications involving any business of the commission in response to a Citizens Freedom of Access Act request. Any questions about the public records prong of the Freedom of Access? We call it FOA. If you ever hear anybody talking about FOA in the city, it's Freedom of Access Act. That's the state version of the public records law. There's a public proceedings aspect of the Freedom of Access Act law. Commission meetings are public proceedings, and as such, they need to be advertised and open to the public. There are certain exceptions where executive sessions might be held. I don't know if that would really happen on your commission, but executive sessions close the public proceeding, but are only allowed for certain reasons that are specified in the state statute. I'm not sure you'll be using any of those, but you'll be guided by staff if there were any reason to ever go into executive session. One of them would be consultation with the attorney regarding the legal rights and duties of the commission, or discussion of information and records made confidential by statute. That might be, but I'm not sure that any of the other ones would apply to your to the things that you do on the commission. If you need to go into executive session, you have to go into it by a public recorded roll call vote of 3/5 of the members of the commission present and voting. And a motion has to cite the statute section that allows it if you want to go into executive session. And Anne would be able to help you on that if that ever were to come up. The ordinance creating the commission says that a quorum consists of 4 commission members. So your meetings have to be noticed to the public, and there has to be at least 4 here in order to go forward. If there are less than 4, the only thing you can really do is close the meeting and schedule it for another time. But then you have subcommittees, and I'm not familiar with how many committees that you form, but each subcommittee has to have at least a minimum of 3 members. And the ordinance says that majority of the voting members appointed to a subcommittee would be a quorum. So if you happen to have a subcommittee of 3 members, then 2 of those members would constitute a quorum. And the reason why I just point that out is, has to do with like communications amongst each other outside of a noticed public meeting. You don't want to have communications about the business of the commission amongst members that might constitute a quorum. So if you're talking about the whole commission, that would be at least 4 members. You'd have to avoid any kind of meetings, including reply all emails. And you could have, you could potentially constitute a quorum of a subcommittee if you happen to have the right members that are communicating. So you want to be careful of that if you try to communicate outside of the meeting, because you don't want to violate the open meeting law.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you. Does the chair count toward quorum?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So a quorum is more than 50% or 50%?
In this case of this commission, the ordinance specifically states a quorum shall consist of 4 commission members.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about subcommittees.
Subcommittees, the ordinance says a majority of the voting members appointed to a subcommittee shall constitute a quorum.
And the majority is not 50%. Is that true? The reason I'm asking is, like,
The
certainly we don't
majority is
want,
more than 50%.
right, so we wouldn't want committees of 3 because then 2 people could have a conversation. Committees of 4, 2 people could. Like, so practically, you'd want to avoid a 3-person subcommittee because 2 people could never talk.
That's right.
About that subcommittee of business, yeah.
So I mean, if you have committees of 4 or more, 2 people could have a dialogue without creating.
Without their,
Yeah.
I
mean, so we would,
notice up the
Violation.
meeting, yeah.
so,
yeah.
we practically want to have at least 4 people on each subcommittee.
Yes.
But we're not a real big committee, so that's.
Well, I mean, if you could avoid it, right? I mean,
3 subcommittees and we have 11 members. So if I'm on 2 committees, then that means every committee can have 4 people. People can also be members of multiple committees.
Yes.
So
Good work.
I'm not fair enough committee.
I'm only really intended to talk about Freedom of Access Act today, and so if you have any questions, I'll field them.
It basically means that everything we discuss as a commission needs to happen in a meeting like this, right? And email can only be used potentially to reschedule or to notify that you can't attend or to get the Zoom link,
Yeah,
like
kind of
that
stuff.
type of admin stuff. So we don't discuss actual grant information over email. We receive grant applications, we take a look at them, we send questions, but we don't discuss any real committee business over email.
That's what's recommended.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't delete any emails that are related to the commission.
What if the events, how do you deal with that outside of the meetings? Cause that's very dynamic.
I think an event is not an official. Actually, that's a good question. Like, we host the Bangor Arts Award event. I don't think we discuss any official commission business at that
Right.
event. We hand out.
You can all,
We chat, we talk, we can all talk about personal stuff and get excited about the Arts Award and present, like,
Yeah.
meet each other. That's okay.
a
right?
quorum could all be at the same place at the same time, as long as you're not talking about the business of the commission.
I mean, we could sort it out, not right now, but it could be tough, right? Like, somebody wanted to text and say, hey, John so-and-so is willing to be a juror. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable way for like the October committee to do its business. So we'll just have to sort that out, yeah.
Because your actions that go to council are in the form of advisory. So like, for example, if there's a public art piece, it comes here first and then you recommend it for the city council to either approve it or not approve it. So the reason, one of the many reasons why it should be in public is so that the general public understands how you arrived at that decision. So it's sort of everybody knows how that came about, that recommendation.
And if there happens to be an email that goes around to all of you and it involves city business, I would avoid reply alls. So that you're not end up, it could be argued that you're having a meeting with reply alls without having noticed of the meeting, if you're talking about the business of the commission.
In the past, subcommittee meetings had not been public, like they don't get recorded on YouTube.
That's
they
true,
need
the
to
subcommittees typically don't. Do you think they should be? I mean, they usually meet here. We used to always
Yeah,
meet here, but not.
we often use a smaller conference room.
Right, in the conference.
This is so big for 3 people to meet.
Right,
But
Meetings of public bodies are supposed to be open to the public.
yeah,
so they do meet here in the building.
right.
So.
And they go on the official schedule.
Are they noticed?
But, yeah.
Yeah, we post them,
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
yeah. Okay,
So they don't need to be video meetings? If they're posted and they're here?
don't know, because we don't typically do that with subcommittees.
Yeah, I think that has more to do with what is technologically practical at times.
Okay.
I don't think we don't video every single subcommittee meeting at the city, so
Excellent.
this is as long as it's noticed and
Right, because the notice allows the public to attend if they choose to.
Right.
yes.
And I suppose any member of the public could request to join a subcommittee meeting, and if they're not able to join in person, we would then
We
have to
could
set up.
accommodate it in the
YouTube
smaller
and
conference.
And
rooms.
Yeah.
open to the public means open for inspection by the public. It doesn't give the public a right to participate.
Right. That's a separate request. Someone can request to speak with us during a meeting,
Mhm.
or present something to us. That's separate. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, any other questions? All right, if you ever want any training on any other topics, just let us know.
All right.
Okay?
Thank
Thank you. Nice to see all of you.
You too. All right. We have 3 minutes.
Oh.
We have talked already a bit about ongoing projects and plans as part of this was a jumbled agenda. But why don't we skip that and go to staff updates
Mhm.
and
So as I'm developing your budget, to go in at the end of the month, I'm assuming you want to put funds into the TIF.
yes.
What I was gonna try to do, as we go through the budget process, we may have to get more specific. So I'll put this on your March agenda as well to talk more about it. But sort of to say funds for, and then that list that I had talked about before, I can repeat it, sort of. I added marketing, working with a consultant to develop the asset and a strategy, for our cultural assets for the city, increasing your grant funds, a possible specific art piece, or it may be the art installation at Pickering. Because the thing about the TIF, just a reminder, tax increment financing funds that we get, they have to go into the district. So, and the district is basically downtown out to the Cross Center. So it's a big area, but still it has to stay within,
Oh, it has to be
that
within the different
space.
district, not the city.
not citywide.
And then what's the high level overview of this, the expected revenue, but also the expected project?
The TIF district brings in 4 million a year. Right now, and I'll put this in your packet next time. I mean, right now we have 1.4 of it goes to the debt service for the Cross Center. So I mean, it goes to right now a lot of capital expenditures like downtown sidewalks, pedestrian improvements. Some funds go to the downtown partnership for their work. We do use some for overall downtown marketing efforts that we work with the downtown partnership on. I'm just looking at what else is in here, like the retaining wall, change, upgrades that need to happen, so. I mean, right now, it's a lot of capital
The
projects.
money has to go to a lot of things. And this is not a new pool, it's just new that we can be included in. Is that right? So, I mean, it's not like there's $4 million that no one knows what to do with. It's already been allocated in the
In
past.
previous years,
We
yeah.
just now can be a part of, or cultural assets can now be a part of that.
Right,
Okay.
the tax increment financing program is controlled by state statute.
Yeah.
And for years, it was really specific about what you could spend it on. Like I say, capital improvements, the other things like some economic development, but you couldn't use it for arts and culture. And then the statute changed last year where you can use it for that. And then we went and changed our TIF abilities to be able to assign funds to that as well. So this is the first year of having this conversation about how to, how much and how to allocate that for. Yeah. And the TIF runs out in 2036, so we have 10 years left on this TIF. And then it goes away. Yeah.
And so is it the purview of this committee to help the city explore the kind of the space thing we've talked about informally a few times? Like if we wanted another multi-purpose performance space, would it be this committee's job to ask for some money to consider the feasibility or to even start that process?
Absolutely. I mean, and I think that again would be a conversation that you would have with the cultural strategy.
Right.
And
Yeah.
who would pay them?
Well, that's a possible project for TIF funds, is to have a consultant work with you to come up with a full-on, cultural asset and strategy document
We
plan.
would ask the city to earmark
Yeah,
X amount from that TIF budget. The city would pay them, the city would officially hire them, but we would be the
Right.
organizing in between, we make the recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you already say this? Apologies, I was replying to something. How much of that 4 million is not accounted for?
well,
Yeah.
I mean, in the current budget, it's all accounted for, but
Of course.
yeah, like the current year, yeah, but for
No,
next
but for-
year.
Yeah, what we're asking for starting
I
July
mean,
1st.
I just look at, just to compare to other things that are sort of non-capital, like we give 15,000 to, economic development support, we give 30,000 to marketing for downtown, and generic downtown amenities is 30,000. So I was gonna offer 40.
Okay.
Cause we get this year, the amount is 4.3, so
Okay.
40, I
Great.
think might be a good starting point.
Yeah.
To ask for.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation. I mean, the cultural
So the
strategy.
request would include all the things.
Well, what I'd like to do is to be able to, at this early stage, to say 40,000, and then the commission will bring up a recommendation of how you're gonna use that 40,000.
Can we include the whole list in the initial?
It just buys you a little time.
Yeah, can we include the whole
more.
list in the initial ask so they know that we have?
Yeah,
the
these are things.
Right, like we already have a list. We'd like to have more time to put together a solid proposal for that money.
Exactly,
40 will likely pay for some of what's in this list.
exactly.
Does that just like when things kind of align with other projects, so is it true that like public construction projects require 1% to go to some kind of art fund, and like if you built a brand new city hall, is it 1% that number? So I mean, maybe you're already doing this, but we're asking for a similar amount, right?
1%.
1% of the
Yeah.
TIF essentially, or a little less, in line with that kind of pre-existing mandate, so that's good, yeah, that seems good.
I like that number as a starting point, because also if we end up with a little less, we could still do something with it. So we
Right.
have room to negotiate.
And that's beyond the 20,000
Yes.
Yeah, beyond your,
Separate from-
your,
And
I
maybe-
would still like to ask for 25 for grants. And I can back that up with all kinds of information and reasoning.
yeah,
I think 25 is reasonable. They likely will still say 20, but I'd like to ask for 25 for grants this year.
okay.
And then still ask for 2,500 for October.
Oh, so they pay for that?
All of our money comes from the city.
Okay, so it's 22.5. Got it.
And that's initial, right? Like if we wanted to refine that next month, or does that not, like this 25, like, do we have to get that number in now?
We do, right? 'Cause
Yeah, it's the end of the
Yeah.
month.
So that seems like a reasonable
Budget's due.
number. Yeah.
Got it.
I mean,
Just
yeah, happy
clarification.
to.
I mean, it'd be good to tie it to the inflation rate cumulative for the last 5 years too, but that's probably the same. That's probably about what's happened.
Yeah.
Cumulatively. Okay, awesome.
I mean,
Great.
I'll take 30 if they wanna give 30.
Most
Always
likely
got,
not.
but
Oh, yeah, that's
I think-
good.
I think we need to, the more reasonable we are with our request, maybe the more likely it is. Get it. And so keeping the October fund the same. Also knowing that we haven't spent all of it the last few years, I think, is reasonable and that we're not asking to increase.
And it was a
all
nice
of it.
event. It went off really well.
I thought so too.
So and they have access to our budgets, right? The City Council?
Yep.
And has it been a pattern where the event is saving money on that 2,500?
Yeah. But I mean, it's part of our overall budget anyway, so whatever doesn't get spent goes into the grant portion of it, so the city doesn't save money on the 2,500 they give us, we don't give it back to the city.
But they can see that we haven't utilized it all for the event.
I don't know that I wanna show them that. in that-
Exactly, that's why I'm asking.
Right,
Okay,
it has built a buffer for us for grant money. Because we haven't received more than 20 for grants in the past several years, but we always get asks for more than that. And so having a little bit left over from the October budget helps us with the grant money. I still think I'd like to ask for more.
always ask for more.
All right,
Okay,
Okay, that's all I got.
great. Then I adjourn the meeting.
thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.